A lot has been said about The Acolyte since the first 2 episodes debuted last Wednesday. The show has been labelled as pushing some sort of woke agenda due to its diverse casting choices, and as always, Star Wars fans are unhappy, because truly, when are they ever happy? Despite being a huge Star Wars fan, I wasn't all that interested in watching The Acolyte. The recent Disney Star Wars shows have been on a bit of a bad run quality-wise over recent years, obviously except for Andor, and I've lost a large amount of interest within the franchise. Now I can't blame the shows completely for this. I think fans need to realise that also they have begun to age out of liking Star Wars. Let's not forget Star Wars is ultimately for kids, and my peak Star Wars fandom for me was between the ages of 8 to 14, as of course this was the age bracket Star Wars was made for. And as I age, Star Wars is less and less for me, which is totally fine. These are stories for a new generation of fans. Perhaps they like them, perhaps they don't. Who am I to judge? I think a large part of Star Wars fans need to accept that the franchise will change and perhaps it isn't for them anymore. And it's not because Disney has some unspoken vendetta against them, and that their own likes and dislikes have actually just changed as they move from being children to man-children. Because of the huge backlash I saw online to The Acolyte, I thought I would shift through all the noise, sit my ass down, and switch on a show I had no interest in watching, and judge for myself. I pride myself on not getting drawn into political arguments or discussing secret conspiracy theories, hidden agendas, and I feel I review art with a clear head, and I don't let ridiculous opinions cloud my judgment of something. To be honest, I didn't even notice the diversity of the cast, because why the hell would I? For people who ultimately comment on this video saying Disney hates straight white men, I asked this one question to those people. Would the quality of this show change if it was a cast of completely straight white men? Do these people just want a bunch of Liam Neesons running around on screen? Because I can tell you, the quality of this show would not change if it was all white men. You may like it, you may not like it, but this one aspect doesn't change whether the show is good or not. I use the term fan broadly as these people are not true Star Wars fans. But many complaints about this show reference the fact that the main character looks upon a roaring fire in open space. And there have been tweets galore about how this is not possible in the vacuum of space, and highlights just how bad this show is. If you're one of these people, I'm afraid to say unfortunately, you are a moron. If you are unable to suspend disbelief that a universe in which monks who can move objects with simply the power of their mind, a universe where this motherfucker somehow bent a laser into the exhaust port of a space station the size of a fucking moon, then I'm afraid to say Star Wars isn't for you. If we're judging Star Wars on its scientific inconsistencies, then we may as well shut the franchise down as a whole. And if you had a problem with this fire in space, then you were simply not interested in critiquing The Acolyte and went into the show wanting to hate it. So in this video, I'm going to give you my review of the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte without any of the political bullshit, and trying to add a bit of sense to the world of Star Wars. So did I like The Acolyte? No. Okay, despite my rant, ultimately I didn't like The Acolyte. The show kicks off with a premise that had all the ingredients for success: a mysterious plot and a world that feels on the brink of chaos. We follow our protagonist who embarks on a journey to uncover dark secrets and battle an impending threat. Sounds thrilling, right? Well, the execution left a lot to be desired. The story meanders through various subplots, often losing the main thread and leaving viewers scratching their heads. The main problem with The Acolyte is it's setting itself up as a murder mystery thriller, which is absolutely fine, but it falls flat on its face within episode 1. This is because we are told who is doing the murders, which is okay I guess, but this becomes extremely frustrating for the audience when the characters you are following are trying to uncover the murderer, whilst we the audience already know who is doing it. Our main characters aren't uncovering any new information for the audience, and are actually playing catch up to what the audience already knows. Viewers usually need a character to follow, someone you can relate to and learn information from. and it's hard for the audience to connect with the characters when we already have more information than they do. So, spoiler alert, despite being a large part of the marketing for this film, Carrie-Anne Moss is killed within the first scene of the first episode. A move which was explained by Leslie Headland, the showrunner, as showing the audience that anyone can die in this universe, and showing the ultimate stakes. However, I don't think this is something that needs to be established. The Acolyte is set 100 years before Phantom Menace. It's not hindered by continuity to the ongoing franchise, and can really be anything it wants. Showing stakes doesn't need a major character death. You already kind of know these characters are going to die or something happens to them because they're not in future episodes, nor are they referenced, which is absolutely fine because that means the show can do whatever it likes. It can take twists and turns. And for me, I feel it's a huge missed opportunity. My prediction is Carrie-Anne Moss will show up in future episodes via flashbacks, showing her relationship with Stenberg's characters. Obviously, there'll be some sort of reveal regarding the Jedi and Stenberg's characters that perhaps everything isn't so black and white, and that maybe the Jedi acted selfishly, creating their own villain that they ultimately need to track down, and perhaps Carrie-Anne Moss's character had something to do with it. I feel this is probably going to be framed as a big reveal that, hey, you know Trinity? Yeah, she wasn't such a good guy after all, and perhaps she did some morally ambiguous things. Perhaps that changes your perception of the character. However, I feel she should have been framed as one of the main characters of the show. We, the audience, travel with her, we see her be heroic, and you know what? We kind of like this character. And then the show could reveal that perhaps she has acted in a morally ambiguous way, and you are able to show why the main villain is the way they are, and that perhaps our protagonist isn't as perfect after all, and has a somewhat dark past. It's far more interesting when things are shown in a morally grey way instead of just sort of good and bad. Now, if they show Moss was perhaps a little evil in the past, it doesn't really mean much because I don't know who this character was. I met her for 5 minutes, she did some sweet kung fu, then she died, so who cares? Showing me everything through flashbacks doesn't build a character. Let me follow them on their journey, show me what type of person my protagonist is. Let me see how events shape them. Unfortunately, this isn't possible now, and now I'm going to learn everything about Carrie-Anne Moss's character via flashbacks, just so the showrunner can change my preconceived notions of the character and show, hey, perhaps they're a little bit evil. To be honest, I think the major problem is the stakes are just simply not established within the first 2 episodes, nor does there seem to be any weight behind the actions of our characters. The main villain kills 2 Jedi, and it just seems to be a shrug of the shoulders by all characters. Our villain seems to feel no emotional weight to this. Yeah, I know she's a villain, but even Anakin shed a tear or two when slaughtering children. Okay, bad example. But everyone just seems so stoic in this show. It reminds me a lot of the prequels and how the actors portrayed their characters within that. The supporting characters in The Acolyte barely grieve the murdered Jedi, and just treat the deaths as the next step of the plot. It takes me out of the show as I feel the characters know they are also in a TV show. No stakes or consequences have been established within the first 2 episodes. The show should be able to, within the first 2 episodes, establish such things as what will happen if the bad guy wins? What does this mean for our good guys? And why the murdered characters are important. Lastly, our secret bad guy is just, well, I have no idea how to describe it. So far, he has given some orders on killing Jedis. Unfortunately, because I'm a dumb audience member, I couldn't have been sure he was a bad guy. Thankfully, he ignites his red lightsaber, waves it around for a few seconds, just to confirm to me that this person who wishes to kill Jedi, speaks in an evil voice, and has a Kylo Ren helmet, is indeed a bad guy. Thank you, The Acolyte. In conclusion, The Acolyte is a show that had a lot of potential, but ultimately fails to deliver. Something I love about Star Wars is it can really lend itself to any genre. The Mandalorian is just basically a western, and The Acolyte tries to be a murder mystery, but completely misses the mark of it. It's very hard to judge a show on the first 2 episodes, and perhaps the show will get better, but at this point, I won't be revisiting The Acolyte. because unfortunately it has bland characters, a meandering plot, and themes that hit you over the head. It just struggles to keep viewers engaged. While the visuals are impressive, they are not enough to save the show from its other flaws. But not everything can be winners, and some people are really enjoying The Acolyte, which is fantastic. Just unfortunately, I'm not one of them.